All right. We're taking all the best old school wisdom and blending it with the top new school methods to bring you the optimal coaching strategies. This is the 80-20 Baseball Podcast with Coach Bo.
Welcome, youth baseball coaches. Welcome to our weekly get-together. Every Tuesday, we're coming out with a new episode, and I know some of you don't listen to it on Tuesday. A lot of you hit it on Wednesday, Thursday, and I know some of you are catching up from past episodes. No matter how it shakes out, I'm excited to be here with all of you, youth baseball coaches, youth baseball parents, youth baseball players. This week's episode's going to be shorter. I'm still traveling on an extended Thanksgiving vacation over here in California. I'm in the Central California area, Fresno, Madera, Clovis area. I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law and my wife about the youth baseball in this area. And it may be the most underrated area in terms of the quality and the depth of youth baseball players and teams from the youngest of levels up through high school. The Fresno, Clovis area, loaded with quality baseball players, teams, coaches. Florida, Texas, Southern California, Arizona get a lot of press or discussed a lot as hotbeds for baseball, but this one might be the least talked about in relationship to the density of quality baseball players, teams, coaches. So anyways, it came to mind just a shout out to this Central California area. We've all heard of flyover states, Middle America, and no matter how beautiful parts of Central California can be and how Central California farms produce a massive amount of the food, the agriculture that we eat and consume, it's widely considered in the California area or on the West Coast as a drive-through region. So you have your flyover state in your drive-through region. But once you stop, go to Sequoia National Park, go to the Central Coast, and all through the Central Valley and the foothills, the access to great outdoor experiences. It's a really great place and high-quality baseball. So this episode is going to be a quick hitter, and I'll start with this. I'm in this region of California right now, and then I'll be heading back to Boise. And when I get back to Boise, I'll be recording an episode that I'm hoping to have out in 2 to 3 weeks for you all. Really excited. We will discuss how coaches can turn parents from opponent to teammates and build alliances. Not only that, for those of you that aren't technically coaching your own team, it will help you understand how to be a better parent of youth baseball players and youth athletes. In the interview, I'm hoping to dive into some team culture tips and strategies that can really move the needle for everybody. So I'll get that recorded when I get back to the Boise area. The audience, we're up to about 75 different countries that have listened to this podcast. Canada, almost 5% of the audience is from Canada. Canada's got some great baseball for being an area that is considered more northern and wouldn't be considered an area that has year-round great baseball weather. Phenomenal baseball up there, all things considered. Of course, Canada is beautiful from coast to coast, and I think that was a little bit of a surprise as I got into this podcast and started putting out episode after episode, checking periodically who's listening, from where. It doesn't say anything more than just the country. Sometimes it'll say the state or the province. In fact, every single province listens to this podcast, so that's pretty sweet. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. I want to clarify exit velocity from last week. I talked about exit velocity and some of the averages that the Rapsodo data is saying youth baseball players at certain ages hit the ball off the tee or in a typical batting practice environment, their average exit velocities. I do want to be clear, we should not be teaching our hitters to swing 105%, 110%, or out of their shoes. Players should swing as hard as they can with less than 2 strikes, insofar as they keep their technique as hard as they can, keeping good posture, keeping good balance, and keeping good control of their bat path, bat control. But we cannot deny the fact that hitting the ball harder produces more runs on average. Now, with less than 2 strikes, we're trying to hit the ball as hard as the pitch allows. But with less than 2 strikes, we're trying to hit the ball as hard as we can, insofar as we're keeping our balance, our technique, our posture. So I want to make sure that I clarified that. All right. So last week we started our 5-part series titled The Most Common Mistakes Youth Coaches Make and How to Avoid Making Them. The most common mistakes youth coaches make. And we're discussing tips to avoid making them. Part 2 this week, practice management and player development. Practice management and player development is the overarching theme. Number 1, not getting players enough repetitions. Repetitions is key for skill development. As coaches, we need to structure practices so our players get enough quality reps. More importantly, enough quality reps at the key skills, the big needle mover skills, the important skills first and foremost, and that we allocate the quality reps according to how often or how much it will help our players come game time, how often it happens during a game, that particular skill or event or action. So the mistake, not getting players enough repetitions. Number 2, no plan for practices. Practices need structure with a plan to maximize time on skill building. Unplanned practices waste time and will definitely lead us to missing opportunities to getting our players better in the key areas. Now I'll touch on these 5 after I get through all 5 here. Number 3, not adapting to attention spans. Young players have short attention spans. Practices should involve frequent changes in activities, games, and drills. Number 4, ignoring struggling players. Taking the time to give extra instruction to players who are struggling with a skill. We shouldn't just focus on the best kids. Number 5, not having a backup plan, not having a backup practice plan. Coaches should always have a backup plan for drills, activities, in case something is not working well, or if there's an issue with equipment, weather, or access to the field. All right, let's dive into these a little bit here. Number 1, not getting players enough repetitions. This is more than huge. This is massive. We need to structure our practice so our players get enough quality reps. We need to maximize the quality reps that they get in practice. Maximize it up to the point where we're not adding any unnecessary safety risks. Best thing we can do here, don't have long lines, number 1, and don't talk too much. The top 2 things that can help this the most, in my opinion, are making sure you don't have long lines waiting. You don't have players waiting in line very long for the next rep. Break them up, spread them out. Divvy them up, station it out. And number 2, let the kids get the reps. We don't need to interject frequently. The second mistake in today's episode we're talking about, no plan for practices. You have to have a practice plan. At a minimum, bullet it out with some times. At a minimum, bullet it out with some times. I highly recommend this be on a clipboard, not on your phone or an iPad or whatnot. Script it out, type it out, and then print it out. Bullet points at a minimum with some time parameters. Now that's at a minimum. Bullet point or a numbered list with the times. Start, finish time for each part. And always allow a little buffer, not because that's how long the transition's going to take, but because drills and things will go over, especially the first couple times you run a practice early in the season or the first couple times you do a drill. So big mistake coaches make, no practice plans. And at a minimum, have just a bulleted list or numbered list with the times and a little bit of a buffer in between each drill or activity. Number 3, not adapting to attention spans. Young players have short attention spans. Practices should involve frequent changes. A moment ago, I mentioned when I introduced this mistake, I did say practices should involve frequent changes. They don't need to be that frequent. They shouldn't be every 2 minutes because setting something up is usually time that does not go to quality reps. So that can take away from the amount of quality reps that players get. Transitioning too much. I think transitions should be super fast, timed, and quick. Max 2 minutes between drills. If everybody's pitching in, many hands make light work. Transitions like that at that speed can happen and will happen. But we need to adapt to attention spans. Our drills shouldn't be going more than 30 minutes, in my opinion, at a youth practice. A scrimmage, that's one thing. I should say an intra-squad scrimmage, that's different. But our drills, I would cap it max 30 minutes. But I wouldn't go so fast that the entire practice is jumping around from one drill to the other, bouncing around, because then you have transition issues that waste time. And also working through a high amount of quality reps on one specific skill can be a really good thing for players to grow their game in that particular area or in those areas. Number 4, ignoring struggling players. Take time to give extra instruction to players who are struggling with a skill. Don't just focus on the best kids. That's really big. If there's an easy way to fix this is have a list of all your players on that clipboard with the practice plans bulleted out and put a check mark each time you work on at least one skill with that player during practice, and make a point to have a check mark next to every player's name, having at least shared out one specific tip on a skill or on skill development for that player. Now you can do more. I wouldn't overdo it, but at least you can spread it out to make sure that you're working and helping each player, not just the best kids. So have a little checklist. Same thing with giving praise to each player. Have a little checklist, little simple column. Did I teach them one skill today each? Did I work or give them a tip on one skill development piece? And did I give them multiple compliments or messages of praise today? And number 5, not having a backup plan. Have to have a backup plan. This backup plan can be the same throughout the year. It can be the same depending on the situation. You can have a backup plan that you can just have there in your back pocket throughout the season for when you need it. But have contingency plans. Have a contingency plan ready to rock, whether it's changing fields, a second venue, especially for rain. What are some backup options you can do for rain? I recommend having 2 backup options for practice. Some backup equipment isn't a bad idea. So not having a backup plan for practice, or even some backup drill that you can plug in if the field is muddy or you don't have bases out there because the field, the park and recreation crew that helps put those bases out there forgot to put the bases in, or there's no L screen, or the batting cages are locked. Have some backup plans for each one of those components specific to the drills and activities that are going on for practice that day. All right, so this one's going to be short. I'm on the road recording this, so we're going to wrap it up there. I would highly encourage you to help support this podcast. Right now, go and leave a review, a rating for this podcast. If you're getting something out of it, go put a nice review. Even if it just takes a few minutes, that really helps out the podcast, and it would be greatly appreciated. Send me your emails. Love hearing from all of you. Coach Bo at 8020baseball.com. Coach Bo at 8020baseball.com. And next week, we'll hit on part 3 of our 5-part series, the most common mistakes youth coaches make and how to avoid making them. Always wonderful being here with all of you. 8020 baseball community. Speaking of which, I look forward to being back here with all of you next week. Until then, take care of that health, take care of those families, take care of your close friends, and take this information out there to the field and be the great coach that you can be. And until next week, adios.
This has been the 80-20 Baseball Masterclass. Take it to the field.